Hello, welcome to a one-on-one interview with Drexel CCI corporate partner Bentley Systems. I'm Chelsea Lowe, program coordinator for the Corporate Partners Program, and I'm happy to introduce Janice Tran, a sophomore computer science major at Drexel CCI. Janice will be interviewing Lisa Brutko, manager of the Graduate and Intern Development Program at Bentley Systems. Bentley is a global leader providing engineers, architects, geospatial professionals, and others in the construction industry with software solutions for infrastructure. Janice and Lisa, thank you so much for participating in our interview today. And Janice, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much. It's very nice to meet you, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us. So I was wondering, can you introduce yourself and tell us more about your role at Bentley?
Sure. So like Chelsea had said, my name's Lisa. I am the Intern and Graduate Development Program Manager here at Bentley. So that is a very fancy way of saying that I get to travel around the North American regions, working with different technical teams to help them recruit really strong students to be our interns and co-ops that really help give back to our projects. So we love the social responsibility aspect of that, where we're helping, educate students on what it's like to be a real software engineer, but also we get a lot back too because you help us improve and we learn a lot from you. You bring in new ideas as well, but I handle a lot of the behind the scenes talent management side of things as well, not just the recruitment end, but also making sure that the engagement piece is there, that the projects that we have selected for you are going to give you enough to keep you really engaged throughout your 6 months to 3 months that you're with us. Also all the behind the scenes stuff like getting you paid on time, which is always the most important thing, and keeping you connected to make sure that you are really having the best experience and handling all of your offboarding and keeping in connection with all of our collegiate contacts as well. So just making sure that also that's replicated globally as well. My main region is North America. I do most of the US and Canada, but I have counterparts in Europe and Asia as well. So we all work together to make sure that the quality is very consistent across the globe for our program.
Wow, that's really amazing. Since partnering with Drexel, what value have you seen from that?
I thought that was a really good question because we partner with a few different universities that have co-op programs, Waterloo, for example, in Burlington, Mississippi State, but we do find Drexel to be one of the best programs that we engage with. For one, your students are very well prepared to jump in and start working with our teams. And we, like I was saying before, the fact that you are here motivating our teams and challenges them, they get very excited every rotation to meet new students because they learn so much from you. They find the engagement part, being able to mentor, to give back, because most of our mentors here in Philadelphia that engage with Drexel are Drexel alum themselves. So they love being able to take that knowledge, that experience, share it back with students. And in return, we get to hire, hopefully, if you really like working with us, which is our goal, that you'll want to come work for us full-time. And then we get to hire some really exceptional talent to join our teams as full-time colleagues.
It's really amazing that that type of connection has been established since partnering with Drexel over the years, which is amazing. You mentioned earlier that your region is in North America, but
Yes.
have there been any projects that you've taken outside of the US?
So for me specifically, a lot of that has to do with the engagement part within Europe and in India. So we're actually building out our Pune, India office to really make sure the standardization is there from, if you were to be an intern in Pune, you could easily transition into a role in the US or Europe. We're global and we are very mobile, and from that global perspective, not so much during a pandemic, but to be able to work diversely within our teams, we really do value some of that connection. So we actually do international rotations within our graduate development program. So that's a big factor for us, is to make sure we are selecting those that are full-time. Usually we're here about a year, so recent college grad, and they're either going to Pune or Lithuania for 3 to 4 months, depending on visas. So that's a big piece of what we all kind of work together, but that's a large project that we have globally. So just make sure that we are giving students and new recent grads an opportunity to, one, potentially work virtually with people overseas, and then also have a chance to physically go once they're here full time to connect with those project teams.
That's really amazing that students will be able to establish relationships, like even across the world?
Yes. So when they're here, well, you're not able to travel while you're a student, but we do have you connect virtually with a lot of people across the globe. Most of our technical teams are, span many miles. You could work with somebody as close as Exton, Pennsylvania, or in Germany, or Calcutta. But again, when you're here full time, we try to make sure that you have a chance to get out there and meet people too.
That's really amazing stuff. Since Bentley is known by many in the tech world, what are the advantages of your company in terms of architecture and software development?
So a large part of what we're doing, taking it away from desktop, which was very standard for many engineers within the world of infrastructure, right? That covers a lot of different uh, topics. It could be from nuclear energy all the way down to mining to bridge construction to building construction. But what do they all have in common is that when you're forced to work from home, like we all are kind of doing, if you can't take a desktop product with you, or you're having trouble connecting with your team virtually, you need to be able to access something remotely. And we were really poised to support many firms going digital. That was actually our big 2019 pivot, was getting away from desktop and going full digital and cloud services and going to more of a subscription model. So we saw this as an opportunity to really support that transition. When we saw this crisis happening, we knew that we were able to really help. So we were doing, free subscriptions to all of those cloud service products. Our whole tagline now is, Bentley has your back. So a lot of what we've been doing is helping firms transition away from desktop applications and going digital, so they don't have to stop working. They're able to keep hitting their project delivery deadlines. So that's been a huge focus for us. And I think what puts us ahead of a lot of other architectural software is that we were really ready for this switch before we were forced to. We saw it coming down the pipeline in 5 years, but what we could do in 5 years, we had to really jump ahead in a couple of weeks.
Wow, that's amazing that you guys were able to just move forward with that and allow people to continue doing what they do. Since Bentley is focused mainly on software engineering, what coding languages are prominently used by you guys?
It's a good question. I get this a lot when I go to career fairs and when we talk at events. I will say we don't necessarily look for specific languages, more so than your ability to learn languages and to adapt them, because there's always new technologies and new languages coming out. And a mark of a really strong software engineer is more about your ability to adapt and learn and understand how they best work in situations. With that being said, if you have exposure to C++, C sharp, any of those, it's great. That means you're just a little bit of ahead of others that may not have it. And we might partner you with a mentor who could help you gain more experience in C. Or if you're really strong in Python, maybe you want to learn more in C. JavaScript, Python, and C are probably our 3 main languages that we utilize, but we really don't expect everyone to come in with a really strong proficiency. That comes with time, it comes with practice. We look for your aptitudes and how you learn and problem solve, and we know that you'll get the practice. A lot of students come in with very limited understanding of what C can do and leave feeling very strong and proficient in it, and that's our goal, is to help you gain that real life exposure. We've had people who started 10, 15 years ago before Python was a thing, and they've had to learn Python. So we get that. So it's not, we don't expect you to come with a full toolkit of languages. So I hope that alleviate some concerns. We really just want you to be excited about learning them and ready to take that on kind of more in a day-to-day work life.
That is very assuring, because as someone myself who's still in the process of applying for co-op, that is one of my main concerns, like just how much should I know? But it's really reassuring to know that Bentley just allows you to integrate with the people working there and with like coding, which is really amazing.
We have a lot of students that come in with just Java because that's all you've had an opportunity to learn so far, and that's fine. And we get that. And like I was saying before, most of our mentors have been in your place before. They get it. As long as you can code strongly and confidently in the language that you know, that's all we care about, because we know you can learn from there.
That's amazing. Passion is the most important. So since you partner with Drexel, for your co-op program, what types of tasks and projects do the students typically work on?
That's another good question. I do get this one a lot, and it's so hard to answer because of how vast our projects are. We have 300 different product lines. And working for a software company, we have everything, front end, back end, full stack. So most of this is ending up being more about what you're looking for, not so much about what we need from you, because we could use you in any aspect. The one thing I always try to mention that is pretty consistent no matter what team you're ending up on, is we want to make sure you are gaining experience on something that you have not had the chance to work on yet. So if you came to us and felt really confident in your back end, but didn't really know too much about front end and wanted to learn more about it, we would try to make sure during the interview process that we were asking you those questions so that we could tell what project team we felt you would be the best fit on, so that for one, you felt confident in something and some skills that you had, but we could continue to engage and push you to learn something new. So there's that aspect of it. With that being said, there's always bug fixing. You're always going to be doing coding. That's the basis of what we're doing here, right? But it's going to be your code. We're going to be testing your code. You're a part of the team. We treat you as a full-time colleague the moment that you're here. You're assigned a mentor. They're there to help you work through problems. But you're a part of that decision making. You're a part of the planning and the design phases. So there's no busy work. You're just in the team learning as you go.
I really love the idea of a student being assigned a mentor and just feeling like they're part of the team head on, because I understand that it can be very intimidating when you first start co-op and you're not sure like where your place is. So it's really amazing that Bentley has that type of thing for students coming in. Since adding more to the co-op question, what type of positions do you see students usually applying for or usually ending up in at Bentley?
Do you mean like full-time or more on the co-op side?
More on the co-op side.
So we have software engineer positions, and we have 4 different teams within our Philadelphia office, and then we have a few in Exton location. So sometimes depending on, where they're looking to be, if they're looking to stay in Center City or if they're looking to maybe commute into the suburbs, they could be on one of 6 teams. Where I find them landing is a little bit more on the machine learning side, where we have other teams that are working on more of our cloud services, which is, we call this a Dropbox for engineers, which is pretty much kind of what it is in that sense. And there's a lot of full stack work. So I see a lot of students really leaning more towards the full integration of more of that full stack model. But we also have students that just want to come in and do back end. And we have that for them too. We have somebody right now working with a team that just wanted to learn C, and that was a big goal for her. So she's on a team that has her really diving into that and is doing a lot more on the back end work. So I see it really depends on the student, and we do find that those that engage with our total mission and vision find the work to be really rewarding. It's not learning how to help people shop better. You're actually helping engineers solve real world problems. So you see the tangible side of it. When you have a user who can't create what they need to build a bridge or to build a water facility to get clean water to a village that may not have it, and you're helping them solve that problem in real time, that really is rewarding. It's not so much numbers behind a screen. You really see the impact that our software has, and I think that's where I hear a lot of students feel that they've connected to something, which is really, it helps them with the engagement piece as well.
That's definitely really important, because it's not just about working. It's about learning. It's about how can I provide an impact? What can I do with my position and with what I've learned while at Bentley? Like, it's really great. Since being heavily focused on software development and you guys having to work on teams, what type of methodology do the teams at Bentley use to tackle and solve problems?
So we're an agile company. So that looks, for many coming in as new co-ops even, they really enjoy the agile structure because it does help you understand the different aspects of the project right away. You understand the deadlines and the expectations. So what we do 3-week sprints, and there are daily scrum calls. So you are really, again, you're integrated with the team. You're on those calls from day one. You're hearing about the different project pieces that are happening simultaneously, you understand then what your part of that puzzle is, and you're working towards that goal and within those 3-week sprints. So it's very structured, and that helps us solve problems in real time. So it's not waiting to the end to find out that another project, a piece of your project team got stuck. You're working on everything simultaneously, so you're able to pivot when you need to, and that is, again, really helpful for students who are getting used to that office environment, because it is so structured. You know what the deadline is, and you know how to work towards it, and if you're not getting to where you need to be, you have these daily calls to check in and ask for help.
That really is helpful, especially putting a student into a scrum right away, like at the beginning of their co-op, because it kind of shows them like you're here, like you're a part of us. And pretty sure that that's very reassuring to the student to feel like, oh, I'm ready to learn. They put me in this environment with them. So I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, our expectation is that you start presenting on your scrum calls about halfway through. So
That's something amazing.
yep, you definitely get to be a part of that and feel what it's like to actually be a software engineer in that setting.
Which is important, like the inclusivity there. Since you guys have had co-ops, what about recent graduates? Like what type of jobs have they been hired for?
So we actually have a rotation program for our recent college grads. So what that looks like is it's a 2-year rotation program. So we do 4 6-month rotations. And really what that is you're learning about all the different technologies that we have available in our company. So you're really kind of developing a full toolkit of different methodologies, different technologies, different languages. You're understanding all the different opportunities within Bentley, because working in one co-op, you only see one project team. And like I said, we have 300 product lines. There are many opportunities out there. So this really gives you a well-rounded education your first 2 years, where you're not stuck to one team. You're able to really see what else is out there, and then you get to pick your path at the end of that 2 years. So, and some of that means you get to learn desktop, and that may not be the most fun, but you've learned it, and that gives you a really strong foundation to kind of move past and to kind of push off from. We have really awesome stuff happening in many different project teams. If you are looking at more app development and you have an opportunity to rotate there, and you know you love it, you know it's there, cybersecurity, machine learning. We do a lot of teaming up with Siemens and Microsoft. There's so much variety. You can't even cover everything in the first 2 years, but that does give you a chance to really get insights and make networking connections internally as well, because you're never stuck to one thing. Working for a software development company, you have so many opportunities to push your career in different directions. So part of the rotation program gives you that kind of the structure, the security to research, figure out what works for you. You're still learning and growing as a professional, so you get the support to learn your soft skills. We do a lot of trainings internally to help you develop those managerial skills, because those aren't always innate. You don't always get to learn those. This is a chance for you to practice them. You get to mentor other interns and co-ops. It's part of your kind of your rotation assignment. You get to meet other individuals in the company. They come in and do lectures, while people from outside of the company come in. So there are a lot of opportunities to really hone your professional skills before you choose the team that you're going to be working on full time after those 2 years.
That is definitely very innovative, because a lot of graduates, they come out like, yes, I've studied this major and I love it, but I kind of need to know more about what am I getting myself into. And I think it's really helpful that Bentley offers a program like that to allow them to sort of get a taste of what everything is like. So, of course, being a tech company, technical skills are very important, but what non-technical skills are important to you in job applicants?
It's a great question. Coding is not a lone wolf career, as I think it has been, or maybe portrayed in movies, but it's a lot of collaboration. I mean, you're working on teams that are coming from many different backgrounds. There's a lot of diversity that that we work with, that really helps us look at things from different perspectives. So communication is a huge one. We really look for people who can not only express their own thoughts and ideas, but can also listen, take feedback, and give feedback. That is a major success component to our colleagues here as engineers. You need to be able to not only express your ideas clearly, but then also take criticism and feedback to be able to really solve problems well. I think another strong one there is your ability to adapt well and therefore have your own insight into yourself. So what are your own strengths? What are your own weaknesses? We do a lot with internal assessments here at Bentley where we have the opportunity for people to take like an MBTI so they understand their own communication skills. So having some self-reflection, I think, is another really good, important skill to have. And it comes with practice and time.
With the fact that you guys allow co-ops to be integrated like so easily into the company, I'm pretty sure that it's amazing that since you allow that opportunity, they'll be able to develop these skills, even if they don't have too much of it. Like that's the fact that you guys allow them to be so included is definitely a gateway for them to learn these skills and develop them over time while working there. That's definitely amazing. So how would you describe the company culture?
So we are, thinking about it from a global perspective. We span to almost every continent, not every continent, but a pretty good amount of them. And communication is a huge factor for us too, because how do you keep 4,000 colleagues around the world connected? A lot of that is really learning how to communicate within your team and connect virtually. And that's something that we've gotten really good at. Even though we're a larger company, we're kind of like mid-level, I feel very well connected to people all over the place just because of the different opportunities I've had to work with them. So even though we're big, we feel small, and I think that's a really special thing. Each of our offices have different, their own little cultures, but overall, largely, we're very collaborative. We have to be. We really love adapting and making, solutions, kind of collaborating to solve these problems that we come up against as a company. There's also kind of this opportunity to work with the founders. I have never worked for a company where I have met the CEO face to face and he remembers me and will continue to talk to me and engage with me. Throughout the 3 years that I've been here, I've been able to meet with Greg Bentley. I've met Keith and Ray Bentley. They love connecting with interns and co-ops. We actually make sure they have a chance to do that. That's special. You don't really feel like a number. You really do feel like you're engaged and connected to the overall mission and vision. So I think that's something very special and unique to Bentley, which you don't always see from larger companies where you still kind of have that startup feel, but yet you're large and global. And I couldn't say 3 years ago that I would have friends around the world, but I do now that I've worked for this company where you get a chance to collaborate and meet with people. I have friends in India, I have friends in Lithuania and Dublin and Australia. That's just, it's very rewarding, and for professional development wise, I feel like I've really expanded my own kind of toolkit to push myself past just what works here. But now I can really say I have an opportunity and a knowledge base to really solve problems from a global perspective.
Definitely having a widened perspective is definitely a really important skill because you're not just contained here. It's like you have an open mind to just look and see it at different things. So adding on to co-op, have you seen, since being at Bentley, have you seen any big breakthroughs that came from students or any small project ideas from students that have become bigger?
That happens every time. Every time we have interns every year. Because you're working on a team in real life, we've had students that have started projects that went live to users in the testing phase, and then they've come back and have been able to actually take it live with the user and work with them directly. So that, to me, that's a huge breakthrough. When you see your code that was in kind of trial phase going live to a user, and you come back and get to work on that team then to actually make sure that that's being released in the way that you foresaw it, that's a huge achievement for any intern or co-op that's here. You're not here for a long time. 6 months goes by so fast. And we've seen so many people who have made their own breakthroughs personally too. I've had a Drexel student kind of open up some code from like 1985 that Keith Bentley wrote originally in Fortran. And she was able to go in there and ask Keith Bentley directly, why did you do it this way? And she and him had a whole conversation, and they worked through and were able to kind of upgrade this whole idea to something that fit to now. That's major. We've had people work on projects that, that were specific to like PennDOT. We had somebody that created an app for PennDOT that was kind of in trial phase, but that was his idea. He took a bunch of drone footage that PennDOT had and was able to geolocate different potholes, and then have his app run to through all of this gradient to actually figure out where the potholes were. And PennDOT loved it. It wasn't an original idea from Bentley, it was from the students. So there are hundreds of those cases. I can't necessarily keep talking about them. I could, but we don't have enough time for that. But it's, everybody has their own idea of what their achievement's going to look like. And that's where a lot of this mentorship and communication and collaboration comes into, because if we don't know what you're looking to achieve, we can't help you achieve it. So a lot of it comes from the self-direction of the student, and we try to really foster that from the very beginning.
Wow, that definitely is major, especially about the student being able to look at old code and then talking directly to the founder about that. That is awesome. So to add on to about the company, what is your favorite part about working at Bentley?
For me, it's the people. I think that the people and the work that we do and the impact it has on the global economy and the infrastructure that we live in, I think those two pieces are what continue to excite me about working at Bentley, is that I've worked for a few different companies. Bentley has been by far my favorite, and because of the people that I work with on a daily basis. I love being challenged. I love the fact that I can work with so many fun and engaging people who have similar attributes and ethics that I have, that also love to be challenged and love to collaborate. It's never a no, it's always a how can we together. And I think that's been very rewarding for me professionally. And I love seeing students kind of experience that too, when they can come in and really feel supported and understand, and kind of just see the eye opening of, oh, I get to try this and feel supported to make mistakes. That's not always available to people. So I think that's a very special thing. And then again, the technology that we create and use to help improve the world is always a very emotional thing, because we do have such a passion for what we do, and being able to see the impact it has on real people really connects us to our overall, why do we get up and do this every day, especially when you see the founders of the company still engage. They code every day. They come into the office when we are allowed to go into the office. They're there at like 6 a.m. They're very passionate still, and it's been 40 years of them doing this, and they still love it and are still very excited about it. That definitely trickles down to everybody else.
That's truly great, especially the part about it's not I, it's we. I really love that idea of team empowerment, and the fact that the engagement is just so real, so prominent, So with that said, thank you so much for joining us and answering the questions that we've had. It's been amazing talking to you and having Bentley as a partner with Drexel.
Thanks, Janice. It's been fun. Thank you. It's nice to actually talk to other people.
I second that.
Well, thank you both for participating. This was great to learn more about Lisa, everything that you're doing, and Janice, great job. And thank you for participating in our first Corporate Partners Q&A led by a student. So I really appreciate both of you for taking time to speak with each other, and great job.
Thanks, Chelsea.
It was really nice to meet you.
You too.